Quick mic check. Can one of the 4 people watching right now just give me a thumbs up or I can hear you? I'm pretty sure I got it working, but just to make sure. Can I get a yes, you can hear me? Awesome, thank you. A fun fact is I have done an entire webinar where I did like 45 minutes to an hour and nobody could hear me. And so now I'm always paranoid about it and I check before I get started. So I'm going to get started in 60 seconds. All right, I'm going to mute myself here for a minute and we'll rock and roll. All right. We are ready to rock and roll. So I admit my voice is a little bit kind of worn out tonight. Hence, if you see me sipping on my hot toddy, and I'll let you be the judge how much toddy's in there. We'll see how it goes later on in the talk, right? I'm just kidding. So, okay, well, let's get started. So for those of you that don't know me or are watching this, that's being shared by one of your friends. My name is Dr. Greg Barnes. I am a chiropractor. I'm a doctor of natural medicine, I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner, pastoral science, all kinds of yada, yada, yada. So all that to be said is that I know quite a bit about nutrition health, and I am excited to share with you some really good things tonight. For a lot of you watching, 50 to 60% of this will be a much needed review. And for a big chunk of you, a lot of this will be brand new and really take you guys to great places in terms of your health and making fast changes with your body. So I always like to start in just going back and, starting from the standpoint of that, our core essentials, our 5 essentials of max living are by far and away. And I've searched high and low, and I've actually kind of drifted from this and inevitably came back to this model because I just have not, in spending over $1 million in advanced education, training courses, all those things, formal education, I have not found one thing better than these 5 essentials and applying them to every single person's life, and they're not being improvement to some degree. Okay, I don't care if you have a crick in your neck to Lou Gehrig's disease to stage 4 cancer. When you apply these 5 essentials, change happens, miracles happen, and the body absolutely can and does heal. So all what these 5 essentials do is help you identify and remove interference in your life, okay, and with your health specifically, so that you can be at your very best exactly the way that God designed you to be. So let's talk about that for a second. And I will let this picture do its own talking, right? And let you look at it and let you decide for yourself. This picture right here is in large ways. In fact, I should get this tattooed on my body for how much I use this, but I have just never found a better visual for what it is that we hope to achieve for each and every single person in our practice whether they're 2 days old or 89 years old, it's still the driving force is helping you end up like this person on the right, okay, and have a life that represents that, whatever that looks like to you. Too many Americans are like the picture on the left, right? Every one of you watching right now want to be like on the right. You would say that that's what you want more than anything. The problem is, and really the self-evaluation needs to come from, is which your action steps line under which category, right? Are your behaviors and your lifestyle choices and the things you're doing stacking you more to the left or stacking you more to the right? And that's a very critical question that you should really be asking yourself every single day. If I were you right now, I would take out your phone, take a screenshot of this right now, put that as your background. And I guarantee you that if you stare at this repeatedly enough on a regular enough basis, you will make better decisions with your health, guaranteed. So the nutrition self-check is getting brutally honest with yourself. Brutally honest. Like, think about it in terms of life and death, because I'll tell you what, your nutrition is a matter of life and death. It's not just a matter of if you're this one or this one, right? But it's a matter of life and death. We know right now, depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching this from 2020, in the year 2021, dear God, I hope things are better than they are right now. I can probably get a bunch of amens, from that. But we know that if you have certain lifestyle risk factors, your chances of not only getting COVID, but dying from COVID are astronomically higher. Whether you believe in the virus or not, whether you believe the numbers or not, right? The virus is real, by the way, if you didn't know that. Is some of the data being skewed? Absolutely. But no doubt it is ravaging Americans way harder than it is other countries, because guess what? Our health sucks. And we know that if your health sucks, you're more likely to not only get COVID, but die of COVID or have serious complications related to COVID. If you're healthy, you get COVID, it's not a big deal. It's no worse than the flu. So now more than ever is a great time to evaluate yourself and really, like, I think one of the most frustrating things for me as a practitioner and all the degrees that I have and all the things that I know and literally the nonstop learning is I know I don't know everything, and I admit that. And multiple times a week, I run into people that think they know everything in terms of their health. And I'm like, well, I don't think you know more than me. So it's best to get humble. All right. Best to get humble and realize you have something to learn. And in fact, if you think you know it all, in fact, that's the most dangerous way that you could live your life. You should always be asking the question, what is next? What is the one thing that I'm going to take away from this talk tonight that I can apply to myself and my family's life that is going to make us better, help us have more energy, live longer, whatever it is. So the mental barriers, right? Eating healthy is too expensive. That's the most common one by far. Is it more expensive? Yes. Is it too expensive? Depends upon what you define as expensive, right? Heart attack will cost you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Cancer will cost you tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Diabetes will cost you between $80,000 to $120,000 over your lifetime. To me, that's a lot of money. Increasing my grocery bill by $50 to $100, a month is not expensive when you stack it up against the things that are killing us and are causing more Americans to go bankrupt than anything else. Number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medical bills. So I'm pretty sure nobody ever went bankrupt in buying healthy groceries, right? But there are plenty of people that went bankrupt because of heart disease, cancer, and medical bills. Another one I'll run into, of course, is it's so hard. It's too hard. And you know what? It is a lot harder. I'm not going to deny the fact that it is harder to live counterculturally, and not only nutrition, but everything in our world, than mainstream. If it were easy to have a 6-pack, right? An 8-pack, right? And have all the energy that you want and just be super healthy, well, then guess what? Everybody would be that way. But it's not. So guess what? It is super hard. I still struggle with it. I would much rather eat pizza, pasta, ice cream every night, several beers every night to kind of relax. I would love to do those things. And I could probably get away with it for the most part, right? At least on the surface level. But that doesn't fit my vision, right? Going back to this picture right here, this is who I envision myself to be right here. And that does not fit in alignment with that vision. So when I keep this vision on the forefront of my mind, right, it makes it a lot easier to say no, to pivot, to not buy that thing, to not stuff my face with that, right? Am I perfect? No, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But I nail it more often than I don't by a long shot, right? And so if you are still struggling with mental barriers, then I would challenge you that you have not honed in on a strong enough reason why you need to make the changes. Maybe just doing it for you is not powerful enough. And I would argue that finding a reason outside of yourself is more powerful and is more important. So whether it's your family maybe, or your faith, you have a certain mission or vision, something you want to accomplish on this planet. If you find a big enough reason why to do it, literally nothing else matters. You will plow through it and get through it no problem. Check this out. 65-year-old couple, okay, roughly around the retirement age, right, will likely need $158,000 in liquid savings, okay, just to have a 50% chance, so a flip of a coin, of having enough money to pay for all of your medical expenses throughout retirement. And that's even after what Medicare would cover. Think about that for a second. You're going to need over $100,000 just to not die bankrupt, or have a 50% chance to not die bankrupt. Most Americans don't have that, which is why, guess what? Most Americans die bankrupt, right? They end up in a nursing home. All their personal assets get liquidated to pay for nursing home costs, right? Because that costs about $7,000 a month, 5 to 7, depending upon, what kind of facility you're in. And then you run out of money, and then you go on Medicaid, which is, paid for by taxpayers, right? And you die without a penny to your name. If you want to have a 90% chance to cover your medical bills while you're still alive, you'll need $271,000. Okay, so about $250,000, a little over $250,000. And within the next 10 years, so if you're in your 50s right now, that number is going to be up in the 400,000. So you're going to almost need $500,000 to cover the costs of poor health, right, throughout the course of your lifetime. When I first saw this number, I literally almost fell off my chair, because I know very few people that have that much money, outside of your house, right? Because of course you could sell your house, right? If you've lived in it for 30 years, paid it off, whatever, and maybe have that much in there, right? But there goes your whole life, right? Right there. This should really hit home. If you know you're never going to have that much money, then that's all the more reason why to invest what you can in your health right now, okay, to be as healthy as you possibly can. So we know that there are foods that heal and there are foods that kill. It's as black and white as that. So the 4 major changes we're going to focus on: cleaning up your carbs, fixing your fats, perfecting your protein, and trashing the toxins. All of those things, okay? All of those things are designed for one reason, and one reason only, is to decrease inflammation inside of your body. Inflammation is at the root cause of every single disease on the planet, right? Guess what? If you have more inflammation in your body, you're more likely to die of COVID. That's AKA cytokine storm, right? That's inflammation. So sugar is going to be the main culprit of that. Damaged fats, toxins, okay? Huge. Now, in terms of fat storage, I'm not going to spend too much time on this here, but I just wanted to give you a quick just visual on this. So the red dots on here represent glucose molecules, sugar molecules, right, in your blood. The blue dots are insulin. This little kind of half sun thing here looking is a cell. In order to get sugar into your cells for energy and out of your bloodstream, insulin, okay, made by your pancreas, is required. It binds to cell receptor sites on your cell wall, opens up a channel, and then sugar goes in for energy. Now, when there is too much sugar, okay, see in the bottom here, there are more red dots. Eventually what happens is that you get then excess sugar leads to excess insulin. And when there's too much insulin, they bombard your cell walls. The cells get weary, as a non-scientific specific term. So they begin to down-regulate the receptors on the cell wall. So now there's less ability for the insulin to get the sugar out of your bloodstream because there's less places to shove it. And then guess what? Your blood glucose is now elevated. If it's elevated too long, you become a pre-diabetic. If it's elevated longer, you become a diabetic. If it's elevated longer than that, your body rots from the inside out and you die. Diabetes will take 7 years off your life on average, okay? And it's a horrific end to it, right? I'm not even gonna Google the pictures right now, don't. Chop your limbs off, right? Decay. Your body literally rots. Sugar, too much inflammation in there will literally rot your body from the inside out. That's why people die faster with diabetes. It also leads to a condition called metabolic syndrome, okay, which is now, this is a 21st century disease. Most people in America over the age of 40 have this to some degree. It's characterized by elevated triglycerides, decreased HDL, oftentimes high blood pressure, but not always, oftentimes diabetes, but not always. This is really a precursor to those things. Sugar will also increase your risks of cancer tremendously. Okay, this is Dr. Thomas Seyfried, PhD. I actually have this book and I started reading through it. Haven't read it in a while, but it's a beast. But he basically unpacks all the scientific and biochemistry pathways on how sugar feeds cancer. Guys, it's not a theory. Okay, when we say sugar, when you hear on the internet and a meme or something that right on Facebook that sugar feeds cancer, it's not just like some, I don't know, crunchy, person's sort of like opinion, right? This guy, I believe, is at MIT or Harvard, one of the two. All right, so like literally the top institutions in the world, researching and unpacking this. And I mean, I'm talking, this thing is about that thick. It is a beast. It's actually probably over on my bookshelf over there, but I won't go grab it. And he shows that it's not a theory, okay, that sugar feeds cancer. It is a absolute metabolic fact. Every time you eat sugar, you will feed any type of cancerous cells inside of your body. That's what happens. Inflammation will also destroy your thyroid or your body's ability to respond to your thyroid hormones. So this is a scenario I see day in and day out in my office. Patient comes in, usually women, not always. They have all the symptoms of hypothyroidism, low energy, hair is getting thinner, skin's drier, nails are more brittle, constipated a little bit more, not going to the bathroom as much, poor metabolism, can't lose weight, just look at food and they gain weight. They're smart. They go on Dr. Google, they Google their symptoms. They're like, oh my gosh, I must have a thyroid problem. They go to their doctor, they get the TSH, the T4 run. Doctor says, they're normal. Patient becomes depressed. They think it's their genes. They think it's hopeless. They just decide to continue to eat crap anyways because they think, well, if it's not my thyroid, then I might as well just eat whatever I want, right? What inflammation will do is that it will inflame your cells, the cell walls. So your thyroid produces the hormone called T4, which is the inactive form of thyroid. In your liver and other cells, it will get converted to T3, which is the active form of thyroid hormone. It will then bind to your cell, create a hormonal and metabolic change in your DNA. It basically activates, okay, all the things that it needs to do. And there's magic that happens in a normal scenario. When there's inflammation, these T3 will be normal levels, and your T4 is normal, your TSH is normal, but it can't bind to the receptor sites. And so therefore all your levels are normal, but your body is not responding to the thyroid hormone because it can't, because of inflammation. So you know, based on Dr. Google, and I'm not bashing that, I'm saying like you're like legit, like check. I gotta have a thyroid problem. And guess what? You don't. You have an inflammation problem. Your thyroid is, your doctor's not lying to you and they say that your thyroid is working fine. It's that your cells are not responding the way that it should. So sugars and grains cause that, bad fats and toxins, like we said. So you're going to see this come up over and over and over again. So we know that disease is caused by lifestyle habits. We actually talked about that. You know, I love this quote. Your actions speak so loudly that I cannot hear what you say. Oh, I want to be healthy. I want to do all the right things. I'm committed to my health, right? What do your actions show? So calories always comes up in nutrition, right? I got to count my calories. I got to lower my calories, right? You will never win the calorie counting game to lose weight, at least long term. It'll happen short term. Everybody will lose weight short term. But there's something called a survival mechanism. And as your calories go down, your metabolism will go down, because if you've been used to getting a certain amount of calories and they start going down, your body doesn't know any different. It thinks you're starving. Why? Because it must think there's less food available. So I'm going to conserve. So as your metabolism do, it lowers down. So then you need to do less calories to keep losing weight, right? And it's just a seesaw battle to eventually you bottom out. You're like, I got to eat more. Your metabolism is down here, right? All of a sudden you pop your calories up, okay? Pop your calories up, and you gain like 5 pounds in a week, even though it took you 5 pounds till be lost in a month trying to count calories. You cannot outsmart your body. I'm sorry. It's just impossible. And on top of that, all calories are not created equal. You cannot tell me that if you were to eat a handful of almonds, right, or a big 150 calories of broccoli, that would make, or let's say 300 calories of broccoli, double, right? That would make you gain weight faster than eating half the amount of calories in one Twinkie. Like, it's just common sense, right? Any practitioner, doctor, or so-called health expert that puts a hefty amount of of weight on calories in versus calories out, shut off the TV, close the web page. They're stuck in the 1950s when it comes to nutrition advice. I'm just telling you that. That's not my opinion. That's a fact. That stuff came out in the 50s and the 60s, and it has evolved so far beyond that, right? But it is still the dominant advice in registered dietitians, right? Most medical practitioners and their advice for, like, if you ask, how do I lose weight? They'll tell you that. Ask your doctor, email your doctor, how do I lose weight? Guarantee they'll come back and say, well, try to lower your calories. And you can say, oh, guess I need to find a new doctor, because clearly you don't know anything about health. Sorry, must be the toddy talking. All right, so sugar. We eat way, way, way too much of it. Surprise, surprise, right? And before you all jump on your little soapbox and say, I don't eat any sugar, I don't drink Coke, I don't eat Twix, I don't eat Twinkies, right? Well, guess what? Bread, pasta, crackers, oatmeal, cereal, fruit, most condiments, most packaged foods, right? Most box soups and store-bought soups, right? Most lunch meats, ketchup, yogurt, crazy amounts of sugar in it. In fact, a lot of those things that I listed have a higher glycemic index than table sugar, meaning it will raise your blood sugar faster, okay, than table sugar. So some things can actually be worse than sugar. And one of the things that's definitely worse than that is artificial sweeteners. Splenda, aspartame, NutraSweet, right? Sweet and low, all those things. Like, if you're still consuming these things, even on an occasional basis, like, let's get to 2020 here, guys, right? Like, seriously, it is absolutely destroying your body. I can't remember if it was Splenda or aspartame. It was one of the two, but it was originally designed to be a pesticide, or an insecticide, I believe, for ants, an ant killer, because it's neurotoxic to them, little teeny tiny ants, right? Well, guess what? In large quantities, okay, in consistent quantities, it's neurotoxic to humans as well. So stevia is a great substitute instead. All the crunchies ask, well, what about honey? Honey's natural. What about maple sugar, syrup? It's natural. And yeah, it is. I think if you're doing a little tiny bit of that from time to time, you're okay. I mean, definitely don't do stevia every single day, right? A little bit is okay. But the best is to stay away from sweet things as much as possible, because they're not good for your body. Even natural stuff, it's still not good for your body. It's less damaging, but it's not good for you. All right, next myth. Fat makes you fat. And by the way, I should probably stop and check. Cool. If you have questions as we're going along, I'm going to try to remember. I get riffing here. Please ask questions, and I will go back, and I will, if I do it real time or not, I'll go back and I'll answer them. Questions are great. It gives me a chance to catch my breath, to drink some of my hot toddy here, and make sure that you guys are learning from this, not just kind of letting it hit you in the face and it's not going anywhere. So questions, please ask them. All right, next myth. Fat makes you fat. If you've heard this before, put in the comments saying, yeah, I've heard it. Post the comments for me. I heard fat makes me fat. Or if I eat too much fat, I'll get fat. Let me know if you've ever heard that before. All 20 people watching should be commenting. Yeah, I mean, listen, this again is another litmus test for your doctor. If they tell you that eating an avocado, okay, is going to make you fat, find a new doctor. Or olive oil or coconut oil, right, that they're bad for you. The vast majority of human breast milk is saturated fat. All right. So if you just think about it from a creation, whether you look at it from human history, from an evolutionary perspective, or a creationist perspective, or for me, I believe it's a blend of the two. Neither one of them would make sense. If saturated fat kills you, then why would it be the most dominant macronutrient in human breast milk? Why would God make the primary fuel for procreation and bringing new life in this world be one of the worst things you could ever have? From an evolutionary standpoint, if that would cause people to live less long and die faster, it doesn't make sense, or it doesn't hold up. So there are cultures that, and all Americans, humans, right? There's my nationalism that we all have as Americans popping out there, that we think we're the center of the universe, right? All humans at one point ate predominantly saturated fat diets. All of them. We ate meats, we ate fat, we ate blubber, right? Fish, okay? All our macronutrients were basically protein and fat. That's what they were. So fat does not make you fat. I'm sure most of you have heard of the ketogenic diet, which is like a 70 to 80% fat-based diet. And most people know that ketogenic diet, although it is not my favorite thing, it is very effective at losing weight. So if eating that much fat would make you gain weight, then ketogenic eaters should be the fattest people on the planet, right? But it's not. It's the carboholics that are. All right, creamers with 0 sugar, your thoughts. The only kind of creamer I use is organic heavy whipping cream. 51 years old, I don't think I can get breast milk now. I don't know. The internet is a weird place. You'd be surprised at what you can find on the internet. But yes, Rohit, I would not recommend trying to hunt that down, or you might end up in jail. So let's differentiate now in the whole fat myth. There are bad fats. There are good fats. Bad fats are going to be any fat that once existed naturally that man is sort of altered, not sort of, has altered. So anything hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated, like cottonseed oil, soybean oil, that's a big one, packaged foods, it's everywhere. Any type of vegetable oil, right? Trans fats like margarine and synthetic butters, like not real butter, anything that's not butter. Corn oil, canola oil, all right, or anything that just says vegetable oil on the package is a very bland statement, very bad. So you find these in bread, crackers, cookies, boxed food. What are the good fats? So these are the things that you should be working on adding into your diet. Extra virgin olive oil, EVOO, right? And with these, organic is, if you can do it, it's really preferred because toxins are stored in fat. So if you're having, especially if it's from an animal, you want it to be organic. Avocados and avocado oil. We do most of our cooking in avocado oil in my house. Secondarily, we'll use coconut oil. Okay. Raw nuts, seeds, and oils. I would say actually that I'm really not a big fan of this anymore. This slide is a little bit outdated. So I really don't recommend a whole lot of eating nuts and seeds. Most people's digestive systems cannot handle them. Unless you're soaking them, sprouting them, and doing all those extra fancy things, I would stay away from them. A lot of people have major gut issues and get gut issues from eating too many seeds and nuts. Real butter, okay? What is real butter? I hope I don't have to explain that. Raw cheeses and yogurts, or definitely at the very least getting organic. Anything that comes from an animal, you should always prioritize that to be organic. Grass-fed meats, eggs, all right, whole milks, fish, especially wild caught, all right, very important, wild caught. Fats and meats cause disease, cancer, osteoporosis, and kidney disease. Totally debunked. Okay, I mean, I'm not going to go into it, but if you need research to back this up, there is a mountain of it that shows this is wrong. I said you're the good kind of fat. Come back. I love that cartoon. It's so funny. So conventional meats, these would be things that are not organic or packaged, processed, right? A lot of nitrites in there, nitrates, super toxic, okay? Super damaging to your pancreas, your GI system, causes a lot of cancer in those, especially stomach cancer, colon cancer. So it's not meat that causes colon cancer. It's processed meat and conventional meat that causes those things. There's not been one study that has shown people that ate healthy meats ever develop those issues. In fact, in original diets, so like kind of native diets, so when cultures eat their native diets, like for example, the Eskimos, no colon cancer, no stomach cancer, all they eat is fat and meat, right? Like that's all they eat, at least if they're eating a traditional, diet. So prioritize your animal products first. If you're going to bump up your budget for nutrition, This is where you allocate, okay? This is where you allocate that change. Don't buy non-grass-fed, non-organic meat and like think you need to buy organic bananas or organic, broccoli. Spend the extra $2 a pound and buy grass-fed beef instead of conventional beef. Okay? Way more bang for your buck. Way more bang for your buck in doing so. And I love this. I am so glad I screenshotted this like 6 years ago when I found it, because I have not been able to find it again. This came off of a research study. I don't remember where, but it was in a major institution. And they looked at the macro and micronutrient content of fruit and grass-fed beef. Okay. So if you're looking at this picture, so the top food product has 840 calories, 13 grams of protein, 211 grams of carbs, 3 grams of fat, 73% vitamins, 50% minerals. The bottom 150 calories, 23 grams of protein, 4 carbs, 4 grams of fat, 60% vitamins, 44% minerals. So I want to hear from you guys. Which one of those do you think is the fruits, either the top or the bottom? And which one do you think is the grass-fed beef? So let's just say, is the fruit the top one or the bottom one? Fruit top. Fruit top, fruit top, fruit top. Yep. So again, this blew me away in that 1 pound of grass-fed beef, which is the one here on the bottom, okay, right here, had almost as much vitamin and mineral content as 5 pounds of fruit, but it's got 207 less carbs, okay, which is crazy. All right, so just way more bang for your buck in eating meat versus trying to think you're going to get it from fruits and vegetables. So question here, curious if you'll talk about this, but the statement that dairy is bad for our gut since we are not designed to consume animal dairy, specifically cows, milk, and children. Yeah, we don't do milk in our house. The only dairy we do is some organic raw cheese, some organic sour cream from time to time. And I do a little bit of cream in my coffee. That's it. So my kids have, well, I should take, they've had it maybe once or twice. But yeah, I mean, we're the only species that drink milk from another animal, right? So it's a little crazy if you think about that. That doesn't mean that God didn't provide, animals to nourish us. We're the top of the food chain, right? So I think it's a case-by-case basis. Obviously, people way overdo it. I don't think, it was 1,000 years ago and your family had 1 cow, it's not like you'd be drinking, right, like massive cups full of milk like every single day, right? So I think, there are some nourishment in and some good nutrients in cow's milk, but you shouldn't be like hosing your bodies down with it for sure. Great question. Can I zoom in a little bit? I'll try here. There we go. Hold on. That a little bit better? Yeah, so you're going to see the massive difference in carbs. That's the big thing for me there. And almost equivalent vitamins and minerals. Okay, so another myth. right? It's the bottom of our food pyramid, AKA the most important part. So eat lots of grains, right? They're important. Grains are the worst. There's a saying, you take the food pyramid, the traditional one, flip it upside down, and you'll be in better health, right? Totally. So grains are super toxic. I mean, I could do a whole presentation on this, talking about the difference between gluten sensitivity, celiac disease, gluten intolerance, all those things. There's just so many different levels. The point is that you should not be eating grains like crazy. Ideally, never. Do I eat grains from time to time? Yes. But very rarely, all right? And I do my best to avoid them. It is kind of the most common trap for a lot of people, but it's super bad. Heavily genetically modified, that's probably the worst thing about it. They will crush your metabolism. If you want to gain weight, eat corn, eat pasta, and eat bread. Okay? That's how you do it. And guess what? That's how they fatten up cows very quickly for slaughter. Is they give them grains, right? If you want a nice, lean, healthy cow, you feed it grass. Okay? Really probably in the top 3 to 5 causes of leaky gut damage. They contain things like phytates and lectins, which are anti-nutrients. They are actually toxins that these produce. Okay, if you want to read a good book, Dr. Gundry, Plant Paradox. Okay, it will change your way you think about certain vegetables forever. And this is all wheat. Okay, I get that there's stone ground. I get that there's organic, right? I get that. Human beings have eaten grains, right, throughout our history, but definitely not 5 to 8 servings a day. Not a chance. Not societies that did well health-wise anyways. As soon as agricultural hit, modern civilizations, their chronic health conditions increased. They might have lived longer because obviously, if it's going to make you fat, you're going to have sustenance. You're going to, not starve to death and live longer in that way. But their chronic health conditions skyrocketed. And so, you're not going to starve to death if you live in America. It's just almost physically impossible. Even if you lose your house, lose your job, right? Like you're going to find food somewhere. So I would address this in terms of your health, not just anything else. It's no surprise our food is toxic. Okay, we got fake foods, GMOs, genetically modified, heavily sprayed with pesticides, heavily doused in antibiotics and hormones, dangerous additives. I mean, my God, things that literally get delivered in hazard, canisters, like biohazard, and then dumped on our food supply. And we wonder why we're as sick as we are. So I love this little chart here. This is a great chart to have handy. In fact, they have an app, I believe. I'm pretty sure they still do, the Environmental Working Group, EWG. So if you just Google the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen, okay, and they've actually expanded the list a little bit. Here's a great just handy dandy. So for example, here's what this means. So if this on the left, okay, this would be AKA the Dirty Dozen, even though it's 14, right? Like I said, they've expanded the list since then. So a Dirty Dozen, you choose organic, okay? And then this one, they used to call it the Clean 15. That's just how I just remember it. So this is rated in order of most heavily sprayed versus least sprayed at the bottom, and then least, so apples, highest pesticide sprayed food. Actually, truthfully, number 1, since then is now coffee. That's actually number one. Conventional, so non-organic coffee is literally one of the worst things you could drink if you want to avoid chemicals, right? If you don't, then drink away. Coffee's number one. Apples are number two. Peaches and nectarines are kind of more seasonal, not so big a deal. Strawberries is number five. Okay, so that's got to be organic as well. Grapes, shouldn't be eating those really anyways. Lots of sugar. And you can see spinach here, bell peppers, cucumbers, a lot of more regular things on there. So these need to be organic. All right. On the right, these things really don't need to be organic. Avocados. I mean, we rarely ever buy organic avocados in our house because just like, what's the point? Why spend an extra 50 cents to $1 on organic avocado when I can get pretty much the same thing? It's conventional, right? Saving money. We go through probably 2 avocados a day in our household. So that's like $2 a day, $14 a week. You know, what is that? Like almost $100 a year saved just on avocados by not buying organic ones because it's just not necessary. No bang for your buck there. Onions, asparagus, right? Again, I mean, a lot of times we just buy these things organic, but we don't go out of our way, right, to do that. Sweet potatoes, again, do not need to be organic. They just don't require a lot of, spraying to sort of keep the pests away, especially if the farming is done right, which is pretty cool. So combating toxins is huge. It's a never-ending battle in our society. Never-ending. It is nonstop. The onslaught is just ridiculous. The environment we live in a petri dish of just chemical garbage, right? And if we wonder why we are getting sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker as a society, it's not the only cause of it, but it's because our environment has gotten sicker and sicker and sicker. So if you got a fish in a sick pond, I don't care, a healthy fish will become sick soon enough. Well, we are healthy fish, a lot of us anyways, in a very sick environment. And it's requiring more and more work on a regular basis to stay ahead of the curve, if you will, on that. So this detox system that we sell in our office and online is a great product. It's a 2-part punch. The toxins are going to lodge themselves in your cells, specifically your fat cells. Okay. They're going to create that inflammation. It's going to make it very hard to lose weight. So we got to kick that out. Cell detox does that. Should really do it like this. Oh, where did it go? Okay. So the cell detox works first. It punches the toxins out of the cells. The body detox has things like psyllium husk, activated charcoal, magnesium oxide. All of those are binders. And so therefore they're going to bind the toxins when they get removed from your body so they can get eliminated out. Most detoxify products don't work long-term because they will agitate those toxins up. But if they're not caught and bound out, they'll get reabsorbed back inside of the body. I mean, if people that think eating healthy is boring, tasteless, and too hard to do, I mean, it could be nothing further from the truth. I eat like a freaking king every single day, and it's healthy. I hear this a lot from, crunchy people. I don't need supplements. And, not everybody does for sure. But I always say, prove it. Let's do a super advanced vitamin and mineral test on you, fatty acid profile. And if you come back clean, yeah, you probably don't. But I've never tested anybody that ate a healthy diet, myself included, that I didn't find needs and deficiencies in certain areas that, when I addressed short term, they got balanced. I didn't need it anymore. And then wait a little while, retest. Like you're never going to be in perfect balance in our society because something is always going to be getting depleted in your body because of the bombardment, or, your diet is not going to be balanced enough to keep those things all those plates spinning, if you will. Common nutritional deficiencies. The quality of your supplements are so important, right? Multi, I'm not a big fan of a multi unless you're trying to fill in the cracks, right? But in my opinion, anybody that's eating a healthy diet definitely does not need just a generic multi because you're really just going to overkill a bunch of stuff. Is it waste? It's not a waste, but it's just overkill is maybe the best way of saying it. Now, B complex Way more people need this than you realize. Like B vitamins are used in every cell of your body. It is used in the entire Krebs cycle. So the entire wheel that produces energy, and not just energy for you to be like this, it's energy for your body. Like think of like power for your body, right? Heart to beat, lungs to breathe. It needs B vitamins to run that cycle. And so stress depletes the crap out of them. Poor diet depletes the crap out of them. Poor sleep depletes the crap out of them. So B complex is massive. In fact, I just got an IV infusion today with a B complex in it, and now my pee smells like B vitamins will for like the next couple of days. I'm like, I don't care. I'd rather be spilling over than be even a little bit under on that. Omega, great. Fatty acid imbalances are one of the most common nutritional deficiencies in our country from what I've seen and what I've tested. This helps to balance them out a little bit. Magnesium is great for restless leg, heart function, blood pressure, relaxing, sleep, digestion. There's 250 chemical reactions in your body that require magnesium. It's the #1 mineral deficiency in Americans. Over 50% are deficient in magnesium. Vitamin D. Oh my God. I mean, I could go on and on for vitamin D. This is a chart here. Let me blow this up again. Bear with me 1 second. I know you may not be able to read that perfectly, but I'm going to walk you through it. So on the top here, you're going to see levels of vitamin D in the blood. Okay, so it starts at 6 and it goes up to 68. This was a study that was done by compiled by the Vitamin D Council, and they looked at 300 epidemiological studies on vitamin D. So that means that massive population groups and vitamin D status. And they compiled this in an easy to read chart. So what they found was that if your vitamin D levels were higher than 40, your chance of preventing all cancer was 35% better than if it was below 40. That's crazy. That means a third of people that get cancer, if their vitamin D levels were appropriate enough, they would not get cancer. By the way, vitamin D is also critical. Excuse me. My voice is getting a little worn out. It's a huge factor in COVID deaths, okay? Vitamin D status. Crazy amounts of research out on this already, and it's only like, we've only known about it for like 6 months, okay? If you're up in the mid 50s, your chance of not getting cancer is 75% less. So check this out. Let's just do some quick, fun math here. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So 2019, there was 1.7 million people diagnosed with cancer, and 600,000 of them died of cancer in the United States. All right, let's just do some quick math here. If we take that figure, 1,762,450, okay, people, reduce that by 75%. That would mean only 400,000 people would get cancer, right? Instead of 1.7 million. So that would prevent 1.3 million people getting cancer in America, just in America, every single year. And if we took the deaths, all right, That would save 455,000 American lives. 455,000 American lives just by getting vitamin D. So about $20 a month or less of getting your vitamin D levels where they're supposed to. So when people bash me on why are you not taking COVID as seriously as you are, I'm taking COVID very seriously. I mean, I'm on the front lines. Nobody in Raleigh, I guarantee you, has touched more human beings than me over the last 4 months. But if you want to talk to me about let's save lives and do the best thing we can possible for our country, how about we figure out how to prevent low-hanging fruit 450,000 American deaths? This is not my opinion. It's fact. It's research, right? It's that simple. So until the narrative changes and starts talking about that, of course, I'm going to be somewhat dismissive of the response to what our government has done, how the mainstream media has done, because it's like, I get it. There's 100 and some thousand Americans that have died over the last 6 months or whatever it is. And that's sad. That sucks. I can't believe I still even have to keep like saying that that's tragic. Of course it's tragic, right? But if they really want to get serious about saving some lives, okay, like let's actually prevent something that not only kills people, but it devastates families, devastates them. You want to get, I'll get serious when they get serious about that, okay? But until then, like they need to actually focus on the proper, all right, metrics. All right, we'll get off my soapbox there. Breast cancer, ovarian, colon, lymphoma, fractures, multiple sclerosis, right? Kidney cancer, endometrial cancer, all linked with preventing through vitamin D. It's a no-brainer. No brainer. You should get your vitamin D levels tested twice a year. Twice a year. I think you should get it in the middle of the summer. I think you should get it in the middle of the winter. Those would be the ideal times, okay? Not like that has to be done that, but you should know how are you doing in peak summer, peak sun, and in middle of winter, least amount of sun, all those things, right? To know what your levels do during that time, or at least do it, maybe spring, fall, or around those times. It will tell you a lot about your health. Should you be supplementing or not? Not everybody needs a supplement, right? Most people do, but not everybody does. At the very least, you should know what your number is and then address it accordingly. This is where you should be. You should be minimum 50, ideally closer to 70, according to their research, okay? That should be your numbers. According to the Vitamin D Council, if you're below 50, you are deficient. Most Americans that I have tested, patients that if they have not been taking a supplement or getting enough sunlight and all that kind of stuff, even if they thought they were, I've never seen somebody that was in the optimal zone just without doing some extra credit work. So start with the assumption that you are deficient until you're proven otherwise, okay? So vitamin D, I take this almost every single day. I give it to my kids every single day. Even in the middle of summer, I still take it. Not as much. I guess I should say I don't take it every day during the summer, but I still take it, especially if I haven't been outside for a couple days in the peak sun. And by the way, what is peak sun? 80 to 90% of your skin exposed for a minimum of 20 minutes between the hours of 11 and 1. Okay, that's when the most vitamin D production happens. Anything outside of that, obviously, if you're wearing sunscreen, you get nothing, okay? If you're wearing your clothes and like only your arms and your face are showing, you get minimal to negligible amounts, right? It's got to be 89, think bikini or Speedo, okay, right? Or swimsuit in order for you to really have enough skin exposure. And that would be without sunscreen for 20 minutes a day to likely have enough just from the sun. So unless you're doing that, you can assume you're deficient. kids, really you should start with the fact that your kids need nutrition more importantly than you do. Oftentimes our kids get forgotten because why they don't outwardly show symptoms like adults will if their health is out of balance, right? Or at least not in obvious ways. They need it more than us guys. They're the ones that are developing at lightning speed. They are the ones that are growing by leaps and bounds. They're the ones that have more fragile health, more fragile blood-brain barriers and cell membranes, right? And so skipping over them to focus only on adults, like, I mean, if anything, you flip it. You get them everything they need for their supplements, and then you're next, right? But because you're going to get the most bang for your buck from them. So kids need nutrition, good nutrition. My kids eat better than I do, by far. Like, I'll cheat maybe once or twice a week, right? My kids might cheat once or twice a month. And like their cheat would be like a little kind of tiny cup of like organic popcorn, organic non-GMO popcorn at that. So they don't cheat, right? Because their bodies are more fragile, and it's just simple as that. We're running a big sale in our office, okay? For those of you that are patients, you already know about this. It goes through the end of the week, so if there's something you still want or you haven't gotten that yet, there are no exceptions. We are going to be done on Friday, all right? I take a major hit on this, but I do it once or twice a year just to help you guys out. A lot of times let you experience things that you've never tried before, see if it helps you, see if you like it. If you need help on what you should be getting, I will do my best to answer any private messages about that. If I get 50 of them, I can't promise I'll have them all done by Friday. But you can start with some good basics, all right? All right, so what do you eat? There's two plans that we have in Max Living. There's the core plan and the advanced plan. Most of you that are watching this right now should be doing the advanced plan. You need to repair your hormones, get your weight back where it needs to be. You need to get rid of lower inflammation, fight disease, lose weight quicker, and restore your health. Okay. If you feel like your health isn't already restored, then you maintain with the core plan. Okay. So what are those? The advanced plan, very simple. You eliminate grains, sugars, and fruit, except a little bit of berries, a little bit of grapefruit, a little bit of Granny Smith apple, and lemon and lime. Okay? No grains, no processed sugars, minimal fruit. But fruit, nope. If you want to stay fat, keep eating fruit. You want to lose weight faster, cut out all fruit. Watch your body, it'll melt off. Protein, you're going to make sure your protein are from clean sources. Okay, and for most of you, I would suggest increasing your protein. You're probably not eating enough. Our bodies are breaking down fast right now because of all the stress we're under, not being outside as much, more stress, okay, psychological, everything. Body's breaking down faster. I would up your protein at a minimum 10 to 20%, and you'll be safe, okay? Fats, you're going to get rid of the man-made fats and replace them with good ones. So less processed oils, fake butters, right? And replace them with avocados, coconut milk, olive oil, okay? All that good stuff, natural stuff. You got to avoid, of course, I mean, this should be obvious at this point, right? Avoid these things, processed carbs and sugars, sugar substitutes, trans fats, fats that turn rancid, anything processed basically too. That cupcake does look good right now though, doesn't it? Actually, fun fact, my wife, she makes these like chocolate cherry cupcakes that it has no sugar in it other than a little bit of fruit sugar with the cherries, and then she makes a buttercream frosting. And oh my gosh, they're like the best thing ever. Oh my gosh, they're so good. And so you can actually eat things like you see in this picture here and them not be too damaging. Label reading, do's and don'ts, right? If you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. That's easy enough. If it's got more syllables, then more than 2 syllables in it, right? I don't know. Don't buy it. If you have to have a minor in biochemistry to understand what that means, don't buy it. In fact, if it has a food label, a good place to start would be to don't buy it, right? A steak shouldn't, well, I guess if you buy it in a store, it does have a food label on it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it? Ingredients, meat. Plan your food out. If you don't plan to fail. Simple as that. My life is a regimented, just it would drive the majority of you watching this into the ground. I measure my life by 15-minute waves, okay? By 15-minute blocks. I'm just trying to pull my calendar up here to show you an example of a typical week for me. Here we go. I'm showing you this not to just impress you guys, but show like the only reason why I pull off what I pull off, and I'm not perfect, but it's because things are blocked off like crazy. Okay, this is actually a fairly light week for me. So it's the same thing with your nutrition. If you're not planning on it, then yeah, you're going to get your butt kicked, right? You're going to need to stop and buy something fast food or processed or quick and dirty because you got caught with your pants down, right? You got caught with unprepared and now you're starving and you're going to reach for the convenient thing. Never when you're starving and need to eat something is your natural inclination to be like, oh, like let's spend 45 minutes preparing a nice, delicious cooked meal, right? I mean, we're all guilty of it. When I get caught like that, my go-to is like Chipotle. Is it terrible? Meh. Is it good? No. Okay. But I know I've had a busy week, busy month if I have too many Chipotle orders, right? It's because like I know when I'm on it with our schedule, right, nutrition, all that kind of stuff, like I don't eat Chipotle. So you got to figure out what are your measurements, what are your metrics, and knowing like how good you're actually doing. Identify those things, and then you can kind of use them as a little bit of a scorecard and sort of reverse engineer yourself and kind of self-assess, not just by what the number on the scale shows, right? Like I said in the beginning, get your big why. If you are struggling with what you should be eating, this should be your number one takeaway. Big why, okay? This is how big your big why should be, okay? I can't make it big enough. That's how important this is in terms of your health. Because if you can have a big enough why, the what, the where, the who, the when, the how, all that stuff will not matter anymore. It will happen. You will figure it out. So get your big why. Like actually sit down with a sheet of paper and write it out. My big why is I want to be 100 years old, climbing mountains, hiking up mountains, and my great grandchildren can't keep up with me. I want to be teaching my great grandkids soccer moves when I'm 99 years old, showing them how to kick with the outside of their foot, how to curl in a free kick, right? How to dribble and shift it. I want to show them at 99 years old. That's my big why. Also, I want to be able to still be adjust and care for patients when I'm that age. I probably won't be doing care for as many personally at that point. Hopefully my great grandchildren will be running my office at that point. But I know that if I legit want to be around, that my body is physically capable of doing that, then the pizza, the cupcakes, the pasta, the bread, all those things, like they're not going to help lead me to that place. Okay, I can't stress that enough, and that's why I spent more time on that than anything else in this whole seminar tonight, because you got to get that big why under control, or the rest, it's going to fall apart. You'll never succeed. Making sure your nervous system is functioning. This is a part that's forgotten about with nutrition. You can take hundreds of supplements, hundreds of dollars of supplements a month, right? But if your neurological system is not properly able to digest and assimilate them, you're going to waste it. So you want to improve your nutrition, get adjusted. Why? Because the nerves control your digestive organs. They control your stomach. If that's impaired, those organs will not work the way that they're supposed to. You will not absorb nutrition as much as you can. You'll not break down food as easily and as important as you should. Get adjusted. We see this so readily in kids, right? That can't poop, right? Babies, they get adjusted. They start pooping. Like, I don't have a make your kid poop adjustment. That's not how it works. But what the adjustment does is it frees up the neurological impingement that is causing those digestive organs to not process that food, in this case, usually milk, right, in an ideal scenario, as readily and able as it should. So adjustments, vital for every single person. How do you know if you need a chiropractor? If you have a spine, you need a chiropractor. Simple as that. Next Monday, sorry, this is not tomorrow night. This is next Monday, and this is the 20th. On Facebook, I'm going to be doing a quick webinar on regenerative medicine and IV therapy, and how this is really the wave of the future in terms of joint improvement, or like wrists, shoulders, knees, ankles, whatever it is. It's the new wave of medicine. It's natural. It's amazing. I've done it in my wrist. It's changed the game for me. I've had many people that have gotten in their knees and their hips and just said it's the best thing they've ever done for that joint. In fact, every single person that has gotten a regenerative medicine injection into one of their beat up joints is already asking or saying, I'm saving up because I want to get my other knee done, my other shoulder, my other hip, whatever it is. Like they've been that thrilled with the results. Is it costly? Yeah. But how much is your life worth? How much is the quality of your life worth? And it's not unaffordable. It's actually, it can be made very affordable through different options. But if you're interested in that, you'll want to tune in on Facebook next week. It's going to be good. Also on Sunday night, I'm going to be doing a true cellular detox talk. So stay tuned for that. So I'm going to talk about the most common toxins that we face, not just from food, but in our environment, how to protect yourself. If you know you've been heavily exposed, how to properly detoxify, because there's a wrong way to do it and there's definitely a right way to do it. And so we'll make sure that you know the right mechanisms to do that properly. Also, man, I've got a busy couple of weeks here. Next Tuesday night at our office, at our clinic, we are doing our world famous, or maybe our regional famous dinner with the doc. And this should say actually dinner with the docs. What we do is, this is a great opportunity for if you have friends or family members that live in the area that are interested, or maybe they want to know a little bit more about what we do in our clinic here locally, but maybe they have some questions, or maybe they're a little uncertain if that's what they want to do. They want to kind of just feel us out, see if we'd be a good fit or not, make sure I don't have 3 eyes. I don't know. This is the perfect event. There's no strings attached for them to come into our office. I do a little spiel, get to meet Dr. V, Dr. Joe, myself, all of this, right? And hear if what we say sounds like it would be a good fit for them to take the next step with their health journey with us. But no, there's no pressure. There's no strings attached. If they, want to take that next step, they can just kind of take that baby step, right? So they're not committing to anything long-term by coming to this. They literally get a free meal. If it doesn't even jive with them, they're going to learn something about their health. I'll do a little extra stuff on COVID and boosting your immune system, critical right now. We're going to socially distance, right? All that kind of stuff. So there is limited seating for that. And Leslie will answer that question in 1 second. So if you have a neighbor or a friend or family member or somebody that you want to bring to that, make sure you reach out to us right away, either myself or Jen at the office. So we can't overbook and then like have people like out in the parking lot or whatever, because we're socially distancing garbage for that. So I probably got spots for about 10 to 12 people in my office. We move all the chairs out, we put some tables up, and we'll have to spread people out and all that kind of thing. So if you got somebody that you think is even just remotely interested, they've liked what you've told them about our office or our philosophy or whatever it is, great event to bring them to. And just see if it jives and it fits with their philosophy of what they thought it was going to be. So again, no pressure, but that's a great event. So the question, can making these changes cause short-term side effects while your body adjusts to better nutrition? If so, what are they? Yeah, a great question. The short answer is yes. The longer answer is it kind of depends. So what I mean by that is the worse off you are and the more hardcore of changes that you make over a short amount of time, you'll feel sicker. So when I got to chiropractic school, this is a shameful but a somewhat funny story now. I drank Mountain Dew like crazy. My breakfast was Yoplait yogurt, strawberry banana with like 40 grams of sugar in it, right? All just crap food. Pizza rolls, okay, right? I'm like, I'm in chiropractic school. I'm going to be so busy, 20 classes. Like I'm never going to be able to have time. So I just got to get quick and easy stuff to eat, right? Feel my body. I met some friends there early on and they're like, dude, you're stupid. Change this up. So they brought me to Whole Foods. I never heard of Whole Foods before. They're throwing all this stuff in my cart, right? I hardly know what half of it was. Actually, I know what 80% of it was. I'm like, what the heck is kale? I literally didn't know what kale was. And I just went, but I'm like, all right, if I'm going to be a health doctor, I better start living it. So I started doing that. Man, the first 2 days of eating, I was so sick. My gut was just like, whoa. But then I was like, I felt amazing after that. So the answer is it's different for everybody, but it's usually not that long lasting. Even if that, your skin might detoxify a little bit, your gut might detoxify a little bit. Nothing that the average person can't handle. And I say average, like really everybody can handle it. I'm just saying it won't even impact your life all that much other than a little bit of maybe inconvenience. So great question. All right, so let's see if I got any other questions on my other chat boxes here. If you got any other questions, post them below, please. And I'll do my best. Otherwise, thank you all for attending. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes if questions come in. And yeah, if you don't mind, like and share this post. Hopefully more people can see this and help transform their lives. All right, no questions. So thank you all for tuning in and have a great night, everyone. Bye.